Yes, I did have a boob job. I know this might come as a shock because my whole page used to be about loving my flat chest and being confident with it. I literally built my entire career and following around that. So why did I do it? Am I crazy? Was everything a lie? Was I secretly insecure this whole time and just use body positivity as a way to make money so I could finally afford a boob job? No, let me tell you the real reason why I did it. And it comes down to one word: fun.
So you don't have to remind me, okay? I know this is kind of old news, but I kind of looked into it a little bit more and it kind of, why do I keep saying kind of? Shut the up, Katie. Essentially, we're going to be looking at Clara Dow today. Clara Dow is a TikTok influencer who gained, I think it was like 7 million followers at one point from building a platform of talking about how she was body positive and wanted to basically encourage others to embrace their flat chest. So all her content was about how having small boobs doesn't make you any less feminine, doesn't make you any less of a woman. You know, you don't have to give in to the beauty standards and the patriarchy and get your tits done, basically. That was her message. And it is one that I fully back and support, especially in today's society when, you know, there are very high expectations for men and women, but specifically focusing on women, I think women have been under pressure for such a long time. You're meant to have big boobs, you've got to have a big bum, you've got to have a small little cutie patootie nose, you've got to be skinny, you've got to be this, you've got to be that. There's a lot of things that women are expected to be like, and I think content like Clara's is truly, well, it's meant to be very helpful. The problem lies here, however, when Clara then, despite building a massive audience based off of accepting having a very small chest, then decided to get a boob job. Now, there are many nuances to this, and that's what I want to go in today. But first of all, I'll help build a picture of who Clara Dow is. We'll have a quick look through her TikToks, the kind of stuff she used to post, and then we'll get onto the bob job, so to speak. The boobies. I am immature. So I am having to mute these videos because there's music over it, but here we've got a video of her saying she loves her body, and it's basically people saying, oh, you must have an eating disorder because you're so skinny. So yeah, we just kind of have her doing videos centered around people having things to say about her body. Very reasonable, very helpful actually to many young women. And then similar content here, I can't wear a bodycon dress because I'm too flat, and then her basically saying you can, you know, again, other great messages, absolutely nothing wrong with this. In fact, genuinely, I've always been on the smaller side with my boobs. And growing up used to be quite insecure. My mum would always be like, it's okay, Katie, one day you'll hit puberty and they'll come. Chill out, it's fine, relax. They, in fact, did not come. They never came, actually. So I was promised greatness and received less greatness. However, with time, I've managed to learn that essentially your boobs are the least interesting thing about you. They really are. And the more you try and focus on other aspects of you and your personality and your morals and who you are as a person, the less it matters really what size your boobs are. Obviously, I understand that for some people it's a bigger deal, other people it's not as big of a deal. I'm not telling people that they should just not care at all if they dislike their own boobs. It's a lifelong battle, isn't it? Being a woman, you have to just battle your insecurities till the day you die. It's great. But this type of content is genuinely helpful. I have no negative things to say about stuff like this. I like to think most people don't have anything negative to say about this content because it is just nice to see. It's nice to have this kind of content out there for the young uns to look up to, especially when I was younger. I wish I was seeing this kind of stuff. But yeah, nothing wrong with this. Again, more just content focusing around her small boobs. And yeah, and I think this is the important thing that you've got to remember when it comes to talking about whether it was a bad thing or not that she got a boob job years later. Because a lot of people are under the impression that, you know, she can do what she wants, right? It's her own body. Leave her alone. Why is she getting criticism? But I do think it's really naive to post stuff like this and then later on get a boob job and expect zero criticism, full stop. We'll get more into that as we go on. You know, she's doing videos about the beauty standards and how things changed and how women's bodies are basically a never-ending trend and how, I mean, we know that, don't we? Because of the kind of Kardashians and how they had BBLs and now they're having their BBLs removed. And the thing is with changing your body permanently is it's likely to pass. So everybody was getting BBLs and being slim thick was in, so to speak. And then now people are like going back to the whole heroin chic, I want to be as skinny as I possibly can trend. Ultimately, you can't win because trends for bodies are going to change over and over again, which is a sad thing, really, because it's a human body. You know, you eat, you sleep. How on earth, should I say, as the society, we've got so much focus on the way, you know, we look? I genuinely don't know. I mean, the genuine factual answer would be capitalism and selling products. If you think about shaving, for example, the problem of having hairy legs on women was created to sell shavers because they were selling shavers to 50% of the population for their beards. And then they thought, hey, we need to target the other 50%. What can we say? Oh, hairy legs is gross and shaved legs is the new clean and sexy, or whatever. That's what it is. You can sell products when you create insecurities. It's tragic. I mean, the plastic surgery industry alone is huge because they profit off women's insecurities. I've always spoke about that Dr. Miami TikToker who everybody loves because he's so cool and funny. That never sat right with me because it's this man who basically makes funny content out of changing women's bodies and appealing to insecure women. Now, I know people like to say, plastic surgery isn't always because you're insecure. Cosmetic surgery is exactly about insecurities. I don't know why they pretend it's not. It is. You can't sit there and say that plastic surgery for cosmetic reasons is not about insecurity, but insecurity doesn't have to be an insult. For example, I've got my aligners now, and I was insecure about my teeth before because I just noticed that they weren't straight. People would always point out when they hate me, oh, Katie, you've got proper British teeth like a graveyard, mate. Teeth like a game of Tetris, or whatever it's called. You know, Tetris, I don't know. And then I've got Invisalign now, and I'm happy in the fact that with time, I think my insecurity will go away. I'm not offended that people might be like, oh, she was insecure about her teeth. Yeah, I was, because they weren't straight, and I've had straight teeth before, so I miss them. I want them back. You know, it's not always an insult to say that somebody's insecure. At the end of the day, we live in a society where you are being consistently told that your body isn't good enough. It's not crazy to guess that somebody's going to be insecure. It's not an insult. You might be shameful about being insecure, but again, it's a societal issue. You won't be able to breastfeed your baby in the future with that chest. Again, so it's just more content focused around what people say to you as a flat-chested person. Now, I wouldn't say I'm flat-chested. I've got some going on down there. However, when people hate me and they come onto my Instagram and they try and come at whatever they can come at, one of the first things that I get aside from my teeth is that I've got small boobs, right? Which again, yes, I have small boobs. Like, why is that an insult? Yes, you can see, and my boobs aren't massive. Correct. Well done, detective. But I have surprisingly had people say to me, how are you going to breastfeed your baby? First of all, don't think that's how it works. Second of all, you know, why do you care who says I'm having a baby? So all of this content is helpful. It is. And people in the comments, you know, pre-boob job, most people were very nice and very supportive, but then you've got the occasional comments that are like, why do you make everything about your flat chest? Well, primarily because women's bodies are made a priority of talking point, especially in the media. I don't think having a go at her for talking loads about her flat chest, when that's what her content is. It's there to help women embrace their bodies. It's there to say, you know, you don't have to have big boobs to feel sexy. You don't have to have big boobs to find a boyfriend. You don't have to have big boobs to, you know, be attractive. All of these things that society has taught young women. You know, if you haven't got big boobs, like, you're not very sexy. You know, you're getting compared to a child. All of the things that I actually have experienced, and seeing this content, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this content. What is slightly difficult to navigate is what comes after. Getting a boob job after saying, you know, embrace your natural body, don't give in to plastic surgery, and then getting one. It's going to be a little bit messy. It would be like how I preach that I don't like OnlyFans and I hate porn because it's fucked up, and then I start, you know, blasting my holes for you guys for $4.99 a month. And I know some of you would like that, as you remind me every day in my DMs. It's never going to happen. But it would be like if I did that. Now, it would be my choice, inherently. Choice used loosely, because you don't really have much choice with outside influences kind of forcing you in one direction. But if I was to be doing that and I made that active decision, then I would expect criticism. No one can stop me doing it. I have free will. I could do it right now if I wanted to, but I would have to know I'm going to get controversy for that, and I'm going to damage my image, so to speak. Let's continue. Again, just more content. I think you're getting the gist. I don't really think I need to go through this anymore. And then fast forward however many years she had been doing this content, and obviously she had, I think, around 7 million, so she was doing this for a very, very long time. She had a massive audience. She then just kind of posted with boobs. So from what I can see, she posted here, this was in March, and this is before she had a boob job. And then a day later, she posted this, and obviously you can see there's a change in the chest region. Even just filming this video, it gives me a little bit of the ick, because I don't like to... I feel a bit weird kind of discussing someone's body this much. It is a bit strange, but I think it's the premise behind the decision that she made and then the way she dealt with it that's most important. This post just randomly came, and obviously this is after the boob job, so I'm guessing she had the boob job prior to this, didn't say anything, posted this, but prior to this, she was posting drafts, because, I mean, there was a day between this one, and I'm going to assume then that she's been posting drafts, and she's kind of known for however long that she was going to get the boob job, and she just kept it secret, and then she probably thought, don't really know how I'm going to tell people now. Can you guys imagine if, right, one day I post a video, you watch my video, you go on my Instagram, and you just see me like in my Instagram story, and I'm like, guys, 50% off, come and look at me finger blasting myself, 50% off, guys, and then I just posted it as normal. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine what the death threats that I would receive? I think I might die. I think people would find where I live and make me die. Again, she just kind of posted as if nothing's happened. She hasn't said, that she's had anything done. Now, I think the thing is that people are getting confused with is people saying, why has she got to announce that she's had a boob job? Why do you feel like you're owed that information? Now, I would usually agree. Okay, I would usually agree. If you decide to do something with your body and you haven't centered your entire existence around being flat-chested and encouraging women to not get plastic surgery because it's giving in to the beauty standards, then I would say, yes, girl, who gives a I personally don't think that plastic surgery is empowering. I personally don't think that plastic surgery can be a feminist decision. However, I actually have a lot of nuance when it comes to plastic surgery because I think it's highly unsympathetic and uncompassionate, right? I don't know the word. I'm not smart, okay? I think it's not very compassionate at all to mock people who clearly are insecure to the point where they have plastic surgery when we are in a world that pressures and bullies people for their appearance. I'm not going to sit here, right, as a feminist, as you all know, and deny the fact that I have days where I have parts of me that I would like to surgically alter, right? I'm not going to deny that. I'm never going to sit here, though, and make my platform off of saying that plastic surgery is wrong and you shouldn't do it. You probably shouldn't, mainly because plastic surgery does create more insecurities. But I also understand that I know what it feels like to have parts of me that I hate, that if I had an option like that, I would change. And I can't sit here as well and say that I would never get work done because I don't know that. I like to think that I would battle, these insecurities and try and find self-love. But at the end of the day, the place that we're in now with social media, with just the media in general, with what people have to say about people's body, with the rise in it is really hard for anybody, for any gender, to love themselves for who they are. And I think for the most part, when it comes to plastic surgery, I don't think it's fair to say to the average person who doesn't do content that promotes staying away from that, to say to them, you're not a real feminist because you're getting plastic surgery. I think it's difficult. It's the same way I view like pornography and OnlyFans women. I don't think you can genuinely be believing in like feminist values if you do pornography. And pornography isn't feminist at all. It's not empowering. Plastic surgery is not empowering, and plastic surgery in itself as a concept is not feminist whatsoever. I think some things do just have nuance, and I think although I do agree that plastic surgery is rooted in the patriarchy, it's rooted in beauty standards that have been set, that have been made to cause insecurity, to make women get surgery, to spend that money on getting that boob job or getting that nose job. But I don't think it is entirely fair to pin, an entire body positive movement onto one person. So then when they make that change, you say that they've ruined that movement. I don't think that's entirely fair. People might sit here and say there's holes in my logic. That's fine. At the end of the day, like I say about OnlyFans women. I disagree with doing OnlyFans. I disagree with I don't think women should be doing that. That's just how it is. But I also would not physically stop a woman from doing that. I guess that's how I feel about surgery. I have more empathy for women that decide to get surgery when they're just not people like Clara Dow, because I understand the pressures of society. Same way I feel empathy for people who do only when they have little money and no other choice. It's not just a black and white thing. Oh yeah, she then did this video that was like a draft of her being like, I wish I had a bigger chest. And then the big chested person saying, I wish I had a smaller chest. It doesn't really make any sense when the whole point of those videos, right, is when you are naturally big busted and when you're naturally small chested. Not like when you chose to get that surgery. I don't understand.
Yes, I did have a boob job. I know this might come as a shock because my whole page used to be about loving my flat chest and being confident with it. I literally built my entire career and following around that. So why did I do it? Am I crazy? Was everything a lie? Was I secretly insecure this whole time and just use body positivity as a way to make money so I could finally afford a boob job? No, let me tell you the real reason why I did it. And it comes down to one word. Fun. For so long, I built this entire...
This is the same energy as saying that you do OnlyFans because it makes you feel empowered. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's actually so fun when they slice open your chest and shove these like plastic silicone implants that aren't meant to be in your body and then sew it up, and you have to have a compressed bra on for ages and it's really uncomfortable, and you've just given into your insecurities and now you've, for fun, probably made a lot of people insecure. Now, I don't actually think that all of that is necessarily itchy eye. I don't think it is entirely fair to call her evil and to say that she's vindictive and she's done all of this on purpose, because we just don't know that. But to sit there and say that it's for fun is definitely the route that you should not have taken. Now, I actually would have had a lot more compassion and empathy if she had sat down and gone, look, I know this is bad and I know that people aren't going to be happy with this, and I can't change how people are now going to feel about themselves. This is a decision I'm making for myself. I'm getting a boob job. I am insecure. Obviously, I'm insecure. That's why I do body positive things. Body positive things doesn't mean she loves herself how she is. It just means she's accepting herself as she is. And I think that that's the main thing to remember when you're looking at this situation. To say that you got something done for fun is a crazy cop-out in this situation. I think there are so many ways that you could have done this that would not have attracted so much hate. And it would have just been to be honest. And the honest answer is that you obviously just did not love your chest. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yes, it's sad, right? It is sad that we are at a point where you just don't love your natural body, the way that you were made, right? It is sad, and it's horrible when women are made insecure by outside influences. If you took away social media, took away the media, took away anything, that has a toxic influence on how you see about yourself, you and everybody else would not care what they look like because there's nothing to compare yourself to. But to say that you got your boobs done for fun is ludicrous, it is untrue, and it does just make people think you did this and you're not really asked about how it comes across. Now, she could have just sat there and gone, look, this is my body. Yes, maybe I shouldn't have done this from the start and created this big mass of young women who are insecure about their boobs to then get a boob job and just go, it's for funsies. It's just insensitive and stupid. Do I think she is the devil incarnate? No, not really. Do I think that she deserves hate after hate after hate and probably the death threats and everything that she would have? No, I also don't think that either. I think I actually feel sorry for her to a certain extent, and that's coming from somebody who fights the urge to want bigger boobs and, has considered surgery before and can sit here and say, look, I don't know, maybe one day I might get a boob job. I don't know. I like to think I wouldn't do that because I do preach feminist values, but I'm also not perfect, and neither is Clara. The fact of the matter is, though, I wouldn't make my entire profile, my entire YouTube channel based off of doing content that says you shouldn't do this, it's bad, because it would be the exact same thing, as I said, as now doing. It would be ludicrous. It would be insanity. And if I did do that, you have to face the consequences. Imagine I just start busting it down online and being like, I just did it for fun, guys. Like, it's it's annoying for the people that have supported you. And she claims that like her family paid for the boob job and it wasn't viewers, but at the end of the day, it also probably was part of, like, I don't know if I buy that, to be honest. And either way, I mean, it's your money, you can do what you want, but it's just, there seems to be a lot of lies. The issue here is it's just hypocritical. That's all it is. Everybody's a little bit hypocritical. Like I just said, I pride myself in being a feminist, and I say that doing isn't feminist. Getting plastic surgery isn't feminist, but I also have more compassion for people in that regard. So I also see that that is an element of hypocrisy in my own logic for things, and I completely understand that. And there's, you know, you can't be perfect at the end of the day. The issue here is this was the complete wrong way to go about it. She obviously decided she was going to get a boob job, and it's not up to those 7 million people to say you can't do that, but there was definitely a way to go about it. And she would have been a lot better off in hindsight starting her YouTube channel off and her TikTok by saying, I want a boob job, I can't afford it yet, so I'm going to do all this content to at least help myself enjoy who I am for now, right? Because that's what body positivity is about. It would be like a bigger person talking about how they never want to lose weight, they love themselves being fat, and that being fat is healthy for you, being fat is the ideal body weight or whatever, I don't know, and then losing weight, and then people are like, I thought you said, you know, it's kind of like that. Obviously it's slightly different because it is probably good if you're overweight to lose weight just for your health, right? But I think the issue here is the hypocrisy. I don't think she would deserve to be slammed on if she hadn't had an account based off of body positivity. Again, if you wanted to get into plastic surgery and feminist values and stuff, it's a difficult one. I think you get to a point where when you try and want someone to be so perfect in terms of feminist values, I think you do start to go a little bit right wing, because it's like if you don't adhere perfectly to every feminist value and every feminist principle and every feminist moral, then you're gonna be struggling a little bit to do everything perfectly. I think focusing on whether someone is a true feminist and the perfect feminist isn't really ideal. However, it is delusional to label things that are not feminist as feminist. For example, plastic surgery. If I now, as a feminist, decided I wanted to get a BBL, I don't think I need that because I'm carrying a wagon, all right, so to speak. But if I did want a BBL on some alternate universe, I wouldn't sit there and say it's because I think it's a feminist empowering thing. I would say I hate myself and this is going to make me feel better. Yes, it's sad, but it's like when people do only. Don't sit there and say you're doing it because it's empowering. You're doing it to get money. Just be honest, at least. Just be, and don't sit there and say it's feminist either. You know, it's that kind of thing. Just be honest, all right? Just be transparent, and she's not doing any of those things. And all the comments, right, are bringing up this creator called Bobless Bella. I actually love her. I think she's funny. I've seen loads of her TikToks. And she basically just started off talking about how she wanted a boob job. She just didn't have the money, I'm pretty sure. She gained a following. She then, I think either a brand paid for her boob job or she got one, I don't know. And now she has a boob job, right? And everyone was saying, so Bobless Bella can do it and no one cares. But when Clara Dow does it, Bobless Bella started off by saying she wanted a boob job and that she didn't like her flat boobs. It's that simple. She didn't sit there and say, oh my God, I would never get plastic surgery. I would never do any of these things and then do it. That's the thing. And again, you have free will to do whatever you want. It is what it is. But you can't not expect backlash, right? You can't expect people to not get a little bit upset about that. Why are people so mad at you for changing your body? I chose to do what I want with my body, and a woman... No, and truly the irony of saying that getting plastic surgery shows that you have freedom is, look at our feminist dog, we are not getting out of the patriarchy. We're not getting out, we're not escaping. The actual irony to say that plastic surgery is freedom, it is the opposite of freedom. You are being, breathe, Katie, breathe, everyone take deep breaths, everyone say to me in the comments, it's okay, Katie. It's okay. You don't need to explain feminism to these people. You don't. Don't hashtag the video, misogyny runs deep. Although, having said that, there definitely will be misogyny in her comments. I'm not denying that, but I'm not doing this from a misogyny. I'm speaking to the void. Her body, her choice, always. Again, plastic surgery and feminism are not together. And her body, her choice... I don't know, it irks me a little bit to use it when we're talking about plastic surgery. I mean, when I'm saying the words her body, her choice, I'm usually talking about abortion. And before people say, well, how is it her body, her choice for abortion, but not her body, her choice for plastic surgery? Because that's what everyone keeps saying. And if I have to explain that to you, then you are pretty dumb, okay? Abortion bans is used to control women's bodies, right? Plastic surgery is also used to control women's bodies. It's just at the other end of the spectrum. So, Lord, give me strength. I'm not even religious, but let me find God right now. Sorry to trigger some of you, but I actually love my life, my face, my body, my job, and my man. Hope you heal soon. Well, I mean, that's not a response to the okay. That's great. No, seriously, that's good. When you built your whole brand for 6 years on loving your flat chest, then went and got a boob job for fun! Oh my god! For fun! I love adhering to beauty standards for fun. I love that. I love spending thousands of pounds for fun. Are we okay? Are we... Stop rage baiting me. Just sit there and be honest and say you are insecure. Why are we so ashamed to admit that we're insecure in a world full of people that create insecurities? Yes, you were insecure. I don't blame you. Being flat-chested in a world where the beauty standard is to have big boobs, yeah, you're gonna be insecure. What? I'm done with this shit, okay? I'm done. Moral of the story, you can't expect to not have criticism. Do I think she is the devil? No. Do I think that every woman that gets plastic surgery is some horrible anti-feminist? No. I think you can think what you're doing is feminist, but it's not. But I also think you can do something and know that it's not feminist. I think it's like, just don't label it feminist, okay? That's all I ask, all right? If you're, it's like, again, I hate to bring it back to this, okay? But it's like doing, right? And if you're in a position where you have to do because you have no money, I think you can still be a feminist and be doing that. The unfortunate reality is if that's the only way to make money, we're in a society, right? But don't label doing that feminist, because that's not the case. And that's my problem with stuff like this. I don't think you're the devil in disguise for doing it. I just think it's stupid and annoying and just wrong to sit there and say you got a boob job for fun. That's the worst part about it. This could have been dealt with so much better. You could have gained so much more sympathy. Yes, people would have been mad. Of course they would. People are mad when body positive fat influencers lose weight. People are mad at everything. People literally cry at everything. You're never going to please everybody. But the route that you took was potentially one of the worst. And now acting like everybody's, insane for having a problem is pretty naive, really.
10 hours later.
So as my boyfriend was editing the first half of this video, I actually saw on her YouTube that she has posted an apology video. And I thought it would only be fair to kind of watch that in this video, mainly because it's her addressing the entire controversy. So I thought we could just quickly go through that so we can see what she has to say. It is a late apology, but I mean, an apology is an apology in my eyes, so we'll have a look.
Okay, I know maybe I should have done this video a long time ago when I first announced my boob job.
I'm having the boob job tomorrow.
I had a boob job.
I'm always the biggest advocate for being authentic. I think after everything that happened.
Okay, I don't know if this is a good time to say this, but I do find this slightly interesting because obviously I find it difficult to say when somebody is inauthentic, because at the end of the day, people really like to believe that you know who somebody is just from what they post online. And as time's gone on, especially being someone who is on social media, I realize that that's very untrue. And people will come to conclusions about you that are false or run narratives about you that are also just untrue. So I do find it difficult sometimes to say, well, that's a lie, you're not inauthentic, because I don't know who you are. However, it comes across as, I guess, inauthentic because I just can't believe, and so can many other people, that you can say that you believe people should embrace their natural self and that you didn't get a boob job out of insecurity, you got one for fun. People don't believe that because that's simply untrue. Thousands and thousands of years ago, people would never have thought to put implants in their chest to get bigger boobs because there was no societal pressure to do so. So that's simply not true. And I think if you're trying to be authentic, either truly you don't actually understand where your insecurities are coming from, but this isn't coming across as authentic already, purely because in your previous videos you stated that it was nothing to do with insecurity and you've loved your flat chest. It's not, I'll just continue.
Being cancelled twice this year, going through a breakup, moving to Vietnam, and potentially moving again to...
See, I just saw then the video that called her evil and stuff. I keep slurring. Sorry, my retainer is quite difficult to speak with. I do think that commentary can be quite harsh. I don't think describing her as evil is really fair. I don't think she's evil. I think she's just been battling demons and is trying to convince the world that she's not insecure, and she is. I don't think that makes someone evil. You know, humans are complex people at the end of the day, and I don't believe that she's evil. Commentary can be a deep, dark place, right? And people slap titles like that on to bring people in, you know? I don't think she's evil, is my personal. I don't think she's done good things. I don't think she's evil.
Sometime soon, a lot of things have happened. I didn't want to just make half-ass apology video, months ago when I could have done it. Authentically did not feel apologetic or feel like I did anything wrong. And that was me at that point in time. And I
fully respect that, actually. I think sometimes when you do things in life, you can really double down on that feeling, especially when you're defensive about your narrative. And I don't think if you aren't sorry, you shouldn't apologize, or you should apologize for what you genuinely do feel sorry for. I think apologizing for stuff that you don't think you need to apologize for is just pointless. People aren't going to like the fact that you didn't apologize on the correct, I guess, time. But at the end of the day, I can't really argue with that. You don't want to be making apologies if you don't fully feel sorry. I think that's fair.
That version of me, I'm proud of myself for everything. But I think what compelled me to, sit down and talk to you today and make this very late apology video is because I think after, having some more time, just taking everything in, I truly feel it in my heart. This time I want...
What's with the animations? Come on, please stop doing them. I'm trying to take this seriously. I'm trying to lock in. Then you've got these paint animations. It's a creative decision, I guess.
To make a video to apologize to all of you. I have heard it with my decision. It's a very personal decision, and I think how I approach it before, like 3 months ago when I announced my surgery, back then to me it's like nobody can get a say on what I want to do with my body, and I was very much in this energy of egoistic self and just look out for myself. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially when I have a lot of compassion towards myself in the past. After everything, I'm sorry, this video comes super late. And right now, I'm able to develop and truly feel this compassion towards you, towards my viewers who have supported me, who have felt betrayed, and who have felt disappointed with my decision. I think I'm finally able to truly feel it in my heart. That's why I want to make this video to apologize to all of you. I'm not gonna say that, I regret my decision, my boob job is the wrong decision for me. No, this is not that type of video.
I mean, so far, I think it's an okay apology video as far as apology videos goes. I do think the issue is that, even when you've done an apology video, it doesn't detract away from the fact that you built an audience off of one specific thing and then did the opposite. That's what people are going to be upset over, and unfortunately it was the act of you getting a boob job that people don't like, and you can't undo that because you've done it. And even if you were to undo it, it's done, right? But I guess in situations like this, I'm trying to be nuanced because I feel like sometimes I'm too harsh. In situations like this, she doesn't really have any other choice. The boob job is done. You may say that she's only apologizing because she got caught or because she had to. I feel like that's a difficult thing to consider because people say this about apology videos all the time. Oh, you're only sorry because you have to say sorry. Well, I don't really know how it could work any other way. Of course, if somebody could probably get away with not saying sorry and not bringing more attraction to the controversy, they probably would. I never really understood that because usually people apologize because they realize they've done something wrong. So of course they're going to apologize now people have brought attention to it.
It's just that I want to make this video to acknowledge, because I'm a public figure and I have done a very specific type of content in the past that attracted a lot of you who have seen yourself in me, who have followed my journey, who have followed and believed in what I preach, which was loving your natural body. You don't have to change anything at all. You're perfect the way you are. And trust me, please, that I still wholeheartedly believe in all of those teachings, in all of the things I said.
See, this is where I begin to critique her as a creator, not as a person per se, but as a creator, because you just can't simply sit there and say that you believe in those things, as you quite evidently do not, right? I like to think of it as I go to the gym, right? And I like my bum. Okay, I'm happy with my bum. I've done squats after hip thrusts after RDLs for like 6 years, right? I like my ass, so to speak. And because I do like it, I have no urge, for example, to put silicone in there or a fat transfer or a BBL or whatever you want to call it. And that's true because I like it. And why would I, for any other why would I change it? You don't change your body for any other reason other than insecurity. I know I've said this prior, but it's true. And anyone that says otherwise, unless it's obviously for medical purposes, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about cosmetic procedures. It's bollocks, right? We can fanny around that all we want. It's not done for any other reason other than insecurity, which I don't necessarily think is a terrible thing. It's sad that that's where we're at, but I don't think blame should be put on an individual necessarily for feeling societal pressures to change, especially if they think I'm never going to be happy the way I am. Obviously, the issue isn't that. It's the fact that she is lying about the reasons why. But yeah, it's starting to be a bit annoying to sit there and you can't say sorry and then double down on the fact that you didn't do it because you were insecure. You just got to say you were insecure and kind of just lying to yourself. You can say that I genuinely the content was trying to help you love yourself. It's almost like fake it till you make it. Everybody knows people do that. You know, everybody knows that's a thing. But it's the non-transparency as well as at the beginning saying that you're authentic. It's just not giving authenticity.
Videos about like the past 6 years, loving my flat chest. It was truly me. And I did not lie. I did not build a persona or just use my flat chest as a way to make money. It's the furthest thing from the truth.
See, again, the unfortunate thing here is that whether you see it this way or not, you quite literally did use your flat chest to make money. I have no problem with that. In a world where you are a woman with a flat chest who has to even make content about that to feel good about yourself and to uplift other flat-chested women, that's a sad thing, right? It shouldn't even have to be that you have to spread the message that having a flat chest is okay. It's sad that we're even at that point. I can't remember where I was going with this. You quite literally did make money from that content, which isn't a bad thing, but it's just quite frustrating to watch her kind of go and do mental gymnastics to get around the real truth of it.
I need the money, I did not need the social media, fame or anything. It's truly something that I deeply care about, having a flat chest, growing up with a flat chest, growing up having a super skinny body, could not gain weight and being body shamed years after years after years by everyone around me, by my family, by my friends. That's why I made the type of content that I made. It's really from my heart. You know, when I first announced my surgery and got hit with so many criticism that, oh, I lied and I'm a hypocrite and I used all of you to gain money for the surgery, a part of me got really defensive.
And this is the problem, and I said this prior. I don't think she's a terrible person. I don't think she's evil. I think she just was dishonest with herself about being insecure, and she built this platform off of trying to convince herself that she wasn't insecure. It's sad, actually. I feel bad for her. Yes, I also sympathize greatly with the young women, and it is young women. Her content is very targeted towards young women who have idolized her and looked up to her and thought, I can love myself because I'm flat-chested. I sympathize with those people too. I see both sides to this. I think the overarching theme that my brain keeps coming back to is that it is inherently sad that she felt like the natural body that she was born with even needed a social media platform to, I guess, help try and build her confidence. Because at the end of the day, if we look at the core issue, it is that women all over the world are unhappy with their natural bodies for so many reasons. And I don't want to bring it back to pornography per se, but I think a lot of it is due to pornography and categorizing women's bodies into different genres of sexy, And let's be honest and real. Unless it's a fetish, flat chests aren't sexualized. You don't see porn videos that's flat-chested girl getting plowed. It's always about having big tits and big jiggly boobies. So the problem is that we have created a society where women don't feel sexy when they have small boobs. Women don't feel womanly and feminine. And it's sad that she, even in the first place, was made to feel insecure. I think people would have to be silly to say that you couldn't see she was insecure prior. I don't think saying that you genuinely believe she loved herself is realistic. How can one love a body that they're made to hate by outside influences? It's just not realistic to believe anybody actually believed that she loved herself authentically. And I think if you see it like that, it brings a sense of sympathy more, because it's like it feels like this big defense video. I'm not defending her, because I do truly believe that she made mistakes, but I also do hold a level of compassion, and that's coming from somebody with a relatively small chest and someone who has been insecure about that and has thought about surgery on and off for years. Like I'm not even going to sit here and say I haven't, because I have, but I almost feel a sense of sympathy that women all over the world are made to hate their natural bodies, and then when they do get surgery, it's something that they're then criticized for. This is obviously a slightly different scenario, because she did these little micro steps along the way that really made it worse for her. I don't think she's evil. I don't think she's horrible. I think she's naive. I think she's silly. And I think she is still lying, but I think what people need to also understand sometimes with social media is that there isn't really any winning. I think this was the worst way she could have gone about it, and I do think she should be responsible for how she would have made other people feel, you know? And I also think this apology video so far, I'm rambling, but there is still some slight white lies going on.
I may not have like handled everything in a mature, in a compassionate way. And I think I was just like looking out for me and just like, no, like, did not do the content for money. Like this is, I did not lie, but like, you know, like I really came at it and create content from that point of like, I have to protect myself, and everybody that didn't get my decision were wrong. And I think I have to admit right now that like, I love all of you. And I think that after like having some more time and after everything kind of like died down, right? Like within me and really sit with everything. And I finally like, I understood. And I put myself in your shoes. If there's a creator that like I follow for this particular advice that I relate to her so much because she shared the same body type as me and she helped me feel better about my natural body, and she suddenly changed and did a completely 360 or 180, changed her identity, changed her body, went against everything that she was against before. Even though, trust, I wasn't against plastic surgery, guys. I understand how it came across like that. Then I would probably feel the same way that you do. I can't understand this girl. I think I finally got it.
Now, I don't know if there were any instances where she directly said that she hated plastic surgery. I know that she said that you don't need plastic surgery, and if you do get it, you're insecure. Therefore, her saying that she wasn't insecure is obviously incorrect, but we know that. And I do think that you can promote the message that loving your natural self is the best move and still get plastic surgery, because at the end of the day, like I believe that you should just love the way that you are if it's possible, but I know it's really difficult. I think nuance is great in any situation. This is just a really unfortunate situation where a series of mistakes were made along the way. And that's the thing when you're a content creator. And she would have known in her head that she was going to get backlash for this. But I think the overriding urgent need to get the boob job probably clouded that judgment. And now reality has set in. You know, having videos made about you isn't a fun, pleasant experience, especially when people are attacking you and you feel misunderstood. It is what it is. You kind of just sign up for that. However, when you do social media, it's not necessarily nice to see videos made about you, calling you evil and whatever. But when you make a kind of move like that, I feel like it has to be anticipated, and I think more damage control could have been done to avoid you seeming as much of a hypocrite.
My body, and there's a creator that helped me feel better, and suddenly she changed herself. Like I would question and doubt everything that she talked about in the past. I have a lot of compassion for myself, for others, for all the people that chose to unsubscribe, leave hate comments. Like I understand. I guess I don't want to sound like a broken record. I just want to to say this message. The reason why I did the surgery, it was really for my creative freedom. I know in my announcement video, I said that, oh, I mainly do it for fun. And I think it's the way that I word it. Maybe it's really how I felt. I acknowledge. And I think the real reason, like fun for me, is creative freedom. And I think I have explained this in the past. Basically, since I was doing flat-chested content for the longest time, for 6 years, I think a lot of people forget I was doing the same thing for a very long time, guys. And just imagine you're doing the same thing day in and
Clara, we were doing so well. Why did you do that? Why would you say? Okay. Well, you know, if you're getting bored of doing the same content that surrounds having a flat chest, then do different content. Getting a boob job is so far from what I would have done if I was you. For example, I did a lot of OnlyFans content. It gets a bit boring after a while when you say the same things. I do like doing it though. I enjoy talking about it. It pays well. But sometimes I want to switch it up like I've been doing recently. The videos don't do as well, but I enjoy them and some of you like it, right? You get bored of doing content centered around your flat chest, then do normal content where you're just living your life. You've got so many subscribers. And at the end of the day, if your subs are only there because you've got a flat chest and that's it, then you need to just do a different route because, you know, it's not nice to have an audience that's only built off of one thing. You need variety in your life, otherwise you will get bored. But if you're bored, get a hobby. But don't say you got a boob job for creative freedom. That is crazy. Guys, imagine I link on my story tomorrow me being in the butt, right, by like 9 men. And I say, guys, I got bored of commentary, creative freedom, here we come. You guys would be, is this lost the plot, right? I actually don't want to watch the rest of this dumbass apology video. I still feel an element of empathy for her. I do. I think I know what's happened. She's insecure. She's always been insecure. I don't blame her for being insecure. I pity it. I feel bad. I think it says a lot about our world and our society and social media and beauty standards. But I think what's going to annoy people further is the insistent narrative that you did it for creative freedom. Because you didn't. And no one's buying that. And people are going to watch this and they're going to be... Should we read the comments? The comments actually aren't as bad as I thought they were going to be. I guess when you see someone upset, I think you have to be pretty heartless just to be like, fuck you, bitch. And it's kind of how I feel, really. I do feel an element of empathy, but I just wish, just be honest. At the end of the day, if you wanted a boob job and that was the decision you made, you shouldn't not do that because you feel like you can't. We can have opinions on it. I personally don't think you should do that. I don't think you should, right? But no one can stop you doing that. If you'd sat down probably and been like, look, guys, I want to do this. It's making me miserable. Okay. I think people would have been a lot more sympathetic. I think that's what it's about. I think there is an element of the people that do content on this that do just want to hate and want to be as nasty and as unsympathetic as they can, but that's just what humans are like. Yeah, that's what I have to say on the matter. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Obviously, let's just be kind as if we can, to an extent. Okay, we're talking about someone's body here. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'm Wham, and I'll see you soon.